Observance 2025. We're so happy to see everybody here. It's a wonderful turnout on a very beautiful but brisk day. First, please welcome Captain Danielle Kuchufis for our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you so much. And please welcome Pastor Ryan Reverie for our opening prayer.
Let us pray. O gracious and heavenly Father, the one who gives us life and salvation, Lord, I just thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us to celebrate our veterans. And Lord, I pray for each of our veterans who are represented here today, and even those who couldn't be here today. I pray blessings upon them. Lord, thank you for giving them the strength and the courage and the bravery to serve our country so well. We pray for those that we've lost. And I pray for the family and friends who are missing them right now. And I pray comfort for them. And I pray that they will be honored here as well today. And I pray all these things in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. We have two proclamations today. The first one will be from the town of Chelmsford, from our Chelmsford Select Board.
Thank you, Regina. I'm Pat Wojcik. I'm representing the Select Board, Chelmsford Select Board here this morning. It's so wonderful to see so many people here on this brisk morning. I think I've seen a couple of snowflakes already, and I'm sure many of you are here for the dedication of the stone, and it's so good to recognize. I have classmates and neighbors who are on that stone, so I'm looking forward to that. So this is the Town of Chelmsford proclamation for Veterans Day for Tuesday, November 11th, 2025. Whereas November 11th was the day on which the armistice ending World War I was signed. And whereas this day has been set aside to commemorate the men and women of the United States who have honorably served our nation in the armed forces. And whereas on Veterans Day 2025, we offer our support to those veterans who suffer illnesses and disabilities resulting from their service. And whereas there are approximately 3,000 veterans living in the town of Chelmsford, now, therefore, we, the Chelmsford Select Board, do hereby recognize Tuesday, November 11, 2025 as Veterans Day, and on this day urge the residents of Chelmsford to remember the personal contributions of all veterans in their community and nation, and to demonstrate their respect and gratitude in appropriate ways. Delivered this 11th day of November 2025, signed by the Select Board and the Chancellor Disability. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll have the state proclamation, and we're going to welcome State Representative Simon Cataldo and State Representative Rodney Elliott.
Thank you, Regina. My name is Simon Cataldo. I have the honor of representing many of you in the Massachusetts House of Representatives. It is an honor to participate in this ceremony today. I'd like to thank Regina Jackson, the Veterans Affairs Department of the town, the entire town staff, the select board members, and all of the veterans and volunteers and families who have once again made this a fitting occasion. As I had the last 3 years, I in particular want to thank the young people who are here and their parents who have brought them. It is not typical to see this many young people at a Veterans Day event in other places, but in Chelmsford it is typical, and it is very important. It's very important for folks who have served to know that the younger generations are being raised in a manner that respects and honors that service, and that those young people know that if they make that same solemn choice to enter our armed services, they too in the future will be honored and respected. Our nation has not always done its best to respect people who have served, and this town is stewarding properly the legacy of Lieutenant Colonel Moses Parker and many others who have served in the great history of this town. So with that, I want to thank the veterans who are here for their service again, and read this proclamation, which I'll admit is lengthy, but every word bears meaning, so bear with me, please. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, a proclamation, whereas since the Commonwealth's earliest days, thousands of men and women have served our country in defense of freedom and liberty, and whereas on November 11th, 1918, after 4 years of conflict, the armistice was signed in the forest of Campania by the Allied nations and Germany, ending World War I, the war to end all wars, and whereas since that day, every November, people from around the nation have gathered to honor our veterans, and whereas in November 2025, the world will commemorate the 107th anniversary of the armistice that ended the fighting in World War I at 11 a.m., November 11th, 1918. In the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And whereas there are approximately 300,000 veterans living in Massachusetts, and whereas in recognition of the sacrifices made by those who have served our great nation, Massachusetts remains committed to supporting the veteran community through the HERO Act, honoring, empowering, and recognizing our service members and veterans. And whereas today we are reminded of the great sacrifices and contributions our veterans have made to our country, and whereas we honor and salute those who have served our country through the generations with honor, patriotism, and courage. And whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts residents remember the bravery of those who served their country, so that their dedication and sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom. Now, therefore, I, Warwick T. Healy, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim November 11, 2025 to be Veterans Day, and urge all residents of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance. Signed by the Governor, the Lieutenant Governor, and the Secretary of the Commonwealth. And I'll turn it over to my colleague, Representative Rodney Elliott.
Thank you, Representative Cataldo. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rodney Elliott. I also represent Chelmsford, as well as other sections of Lowell. And let me first I'd like to start by certainly thanking all of you for joining us here today. But can we also recognize the Veteran Service Officer, Regina? Where's Regina? Regina does an amazing job year in and year out. And it's an honor for me to join you on Memorial Day and Veterans Day. And I'm amazed every single event that this crowd seems to grow, which is a testament to you and the commitment that we have to our veterans. And today we pay tribute to the brave men and women who have represented the United States in the uniform of our armed forces. On this Veterans Day, we commemorate their sacrifices, their valor, their unwavering commitment to our nation, so we may gather here today. In the last session, as a member of the Veterans and Federal Affairs Committee, I had the profound honor of advocating for the rights and welfare of our veterans. It's our duty to ensure that those who have served our country receive the support and recognition This includes not only honoring your service, but also addressing the challenges and what we need to provide to you when returning home. And last, it was a proud vote that myself and Representative Cataldo took to pass the Massachusetts HERO Act, an essential piece of legislation to enhance the lives of every single veteran that provides critical services, resources to all of our veterans. So I will conclude today as a reminder that our commitment to each veteran does not end with service, with your service. It serves as a reminder to all of the younger generation here today that pride in country, service, and unity is a key success for the future of our nation. Above all, today serves as a reminder that our veteran population, we need to recognize and respect each one of you, for it's through our pride and sacrifice for our great country that exemplify to all what respect and love for one another truly is. On this day, we reaffirm our dedication to ensuring that all veterans have access to the resources they need to survive, to thrive. With that, I thank you all who have served. Thank you to the families who have supported them. Together we will continue to honor our heroes, not just today, but every day. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
Thank you very much. Just have to say that Chelmsford is very, very fortunate to have such strong and caring representation at our State House. Every year, we feature a Chelmsford veteran who epitomizes service after service. A member of our community who has continued to serve our community or other communities long after they have hung up their uniform. So this year, we're fortunate to have Bob Laporte, a U.S. Army Vietnam War veteran, to join us. I'll just tell you a little bit about Bob. Bob Laporte was raised and educated in Chelmsford. He graduated with the Chelmsford High School class of 1965. He graduated St. Anselm's College in 1969. He was drafted into the Army on 9/11/1969. He had basic training at Fort Dix and infantry training at Fort Lewis. He served in Vietnam from February 1970 to April 1971, assigned to the 1st Cavalry Division Air Mobile. After Vietnam, he returned, working in Boston from '82 to 2021 for a commercial real estate firm, where he was a managing partner of the Evaluation and Counseling Group. Professionally, he's a member of the Appraisal Institute, Counselors of Real Estate, and licensed real estate broker, past president of the Appraisal Institute's New England chapter, and he served on the national committees for the Appraisal Institute, including vice chairman of the National Ethics Division. Bob has served as past chairman and member of the Chelmsford Historic District Commission. He's past member and president of the Leominster Rotary Club, 2 town committees in Westford, and he's the current president of the Chelmsford Food Pantry. He started volunteering at the food pantry over 15 years ago with Sandy Donovan. After Vietnam, his family donated land to the Chelmsford Land Trust and the Chelmsford Conservation Commission. So please welcome Bob Laporte.
Thank you, Regina. And good morning, ladies, gentlemen, honored guests, distinguished veterans, and fellow citizens. It is a privilege to stand before you today as we come together to observe Veterans Day, a day that holds profound meaning for our nation, our communities, and every individual who values freedom and peace. Today we pause to honor the brave men and women who answered the call to serve this country. From the battlefields of distant lands to the quiet posts at home, our veterans have demonstrated courage, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment to the ideals that define America. Their service is the foundation upon which our liberties stand today. Let us remember that freedoms we enjoy today did not come easily. They were secured by those willing to face adversity, to put duty above self, and to believe in something greater than themselves. Our veterans are living examples of selflessness, leadership, and honor. As we pay tribute, let us also reaffirm our commitment to supporting our veterans, not just with the words on this special day, but through our actions every day. Let us ensure that we receive the respect, opportunities, and care they have earned through their service. As a Vietnam-era veteran who was drafted and served in Vietnam, I would like to share with you a few thoughts about this baby boomer generation who served this nation during a very turbulent time. While all our veterans warrant a tribute, the Vietnam-era veterans warrant special recognition, in my opinion. I stand before you today with a long list of extended family who are veterans of previous wars. Each of these have a direct Chelmsford connection. One was Abbott Russell Mill Pond, his great-grandfather, who was killed on the first day of the Revolutionary War. I have two other relatives who served during the Civil War, one being Ezekiel Worthen's son, George Worthen, who fought with distinction at Gettysburg and other battles, and George Locke, who fought in the Civil War with the Grand Army of the Republic and for the Navy. Two grandfathers were in World War I. My father and uncle and two former fathers-in-law were veterans of World War II. Also with a Chelmsford connection, my distant cousin, retired Air Force Captain Monique Scott, served as a medical evacuation nurse on flights from Vietnam to Japan. She cared for the most seriously wounded and was the last person to be with some of those who died on their way to Japan. And myself. I graduated from Chelmsford High School in 1965, and during my school days we had the Cuban Missile Crisis and lived through the assassination of President Kennedy. Then in 1964 there was the Gulf of Tonkin incident, and that caused increased troops in Vietnam to increase from 184,066 to 536,000 in 1969. In 1965, the Vietnam War was already 10 years old. During my 4 years at St. Anselm College, from 65 to 69, my Chelmsford High classmate and good friend Jack Betancourt was killed in action in 1967. 1969 was a tough time for Chelmsford. Another friend who graduated from the class of 64, Kenny Hughes, was killed while flying an observation plane. Well, I did not know the two other Chelmsford residents who were killed in action while in Vietnam. They were just 20 and 21 years old. Each served in the infantry. Also in 1969, another high school classmate, Donnie McPhail, who was 20 years old at the time, was captured by the NVA on February 8, 1969. Donnie was part of a Special Forces Ranger team inserted to observe NVA and VA troop movement. He was shot 2 times in the leg and was hit by grenade shrapnel. After his capture, he was constantly tortured during his 1,498 days of captivity. 38 months of that imprisonment held in solitary confinement, usually with his legs in shackles. Don made it home, but his life as a veteran would remain haunted by his over 4 years of captivity, including his walking the Ho Chi Minh Trail to a North Vietnamese prison camp. These were all young kids who bravely served this country. After my college graduation in June of 1969, my college deferment ended, and in August 1969, I received a nice letter from President Nixon inviting me to join the Army. And at 6 a.m. on September 11th, from the Groton Draft Ward, we joined the trip to the Boston Army base, where I was joined by another Chelmsford resident, Bill Rourke, my college roommate from Air, and a friend from Westwood. After basic training at Dix, we were sent to Fort Lewis for 9 weeks of infantry training. I ended up with the only orders for Vietnam out of this group. The special orders were sent down for 16 of us at the termination of our infantry training. Keep in mind that during this period, many of our classmates were protesting the war, and some opted to go to Canada to avoid the draft. Having said that, 2 more of my college classmates would die in Vietnam, in addition to the ones I was stationed with while attached to the 1st Cavalry Division. Many of those who went to Vietnam never made it home or were seriously injured or arrived home with either PTSD or suffering from the effect of Agent Orange. All of us who served during this time know of a veteran who has suffered from Agent Orange. Most of us flew to Vietnam not knowing anyone on the plane and returned home the same way. For those in combat, you would have either been in the jungle or a rice paddy, and in less than 2 weeks, flew home to an unaccepted country. There was no transition time to spend with your band of brothers to decompress. Today, I honor all veterans who served, but will omit a special attachment to our veterans who served during the Vietnam era. I want to spend a few minutes just speaking about service after service during this era. Without naming everyone, many of our veterans returned to this country and served this community. I think of Marine veteran and Vietnam veteran and Chelmsford High graduate John Harrington, who initially became a police officer in town and later served as the executive director of the Chelmsford Business Association and director of the Chelmsford Water District. Another high school classmate, Colin Forbes, a Purple Heart recipient with the Marine Corps while in Vietnam, went on to become a member of the New Hampshire State Police. And of course, Richie Adams. Richie and I literally bumped into each other during a mortar attack while in Phu Vinh. He later became a town police officer, and I'll report to this day, we still stay in touch, and he is alive and well in Tennessee. As for me, I was fired up with my return from Vietnam in April of 1971, as I was ready to return to a normal life. I became a member of the Chelmsford Historic District, involved in the Leominster Rotary Club, and 15 years ago I was drafted again, this time by my wife, to be a volunteer at the Chelmsford Food Pantry. After the sickness and passing of Sandy Donovan, the founder of the pantry, we took over the leadership of the pantry. There have been many big changes at the pantry, and thanks to a state grant, along with the help from our town manager Select Board and DPW, we now have a new trailer. As with the COVID crisis, and most recently with the recent delays with the SNAP program, we have witnessed a tremendous outreach from town residents and businesses. You know, with so much negative news today, we should take comfort with this outreach that the town residents, businesses, and organizations have stepped forward to help us at the food pantry. In closing, I wanted to share a saying I read every day while standing outside my World War II Fort Lewis barracks in freezing rain at 4 a.m. Life for those who fight for it has a flavor the protected will never know. To all veterans, we thank you, we honor your service, your sacrifice, and your unwavering devotion to our country. You are guardians of our nation's promise, and we are forever in your debt. Thank you, and God bless our veterans, their families, and the United States of America.
Thank you so much, Bob. Now we would like to introduce Mike Kendrick and Debbie Kendrick. Mike is the president of the Chelmsford Veterans Memorial Park Committee.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being at this beautiful park. And truly are amazed at how many people are here. This is amazing. Thank you. And today we're going to dedicate another stone, which is right over there. So whoever is over there is probably going to have to move eventually. But today, on Veterans Day, we dedicate a new pillar that will forever memorialize the men and women whose names are etched on it. We welcome them to this special community as they join, holy mackerel, sorry, as they join those already listed on it. The day is not a sad occasion, but one of celebration for our military heroes that stand among us and the unforgettable time that they spent with the heroes that have passed. Since the dedication in 1992 of this park, and the 9 original stones, which are those stones in the back row, this will be the 8th update of additional names that are being placed in the park. So we've been doing this for quite a while. There are approximately 2,000 names in this park in 1 week. And right now, I'd like to move on with the dedication. So I'm going to invite my wife, Debbie Kendrick. She will read all the names that are on the stone, and we'll do the unveiling of the stone immediately after. Thank you.
Joshua A. Vonderson, U.S. Navy. Kenneth J. Vonderson, U.S. Army. Ernest F. Brown, U.S. Army. Joseph W. Bucheri, U.S. Air Force. Thomas E. Burns, U.S. Navy. Christopher F. Carney, U.S. Army. Tracy Claudio, U.S. Navy. George T. DeFremio, U.S. Air Force. Bertrand E. Dixon, Jr., U.S. Marine Corps. Mark D. Dodd, U.S. Navy. James W. Doyle, U.S. Navy. Edward A. Field, U.S. Navy. Jack E. Finley, U.S. Navy. Alfonso J. Ferricano, U.S. Navy. Robert J. Geary, U.S. Navy. Michael O. Gigliotti, U.S. Army. Joseph B. Greenwood, U.S. Navy. Dro J. Gregorian, U.S. Navy. Felix S. Gregorian, U.S. Army. Gregor D. Gregorian, U.S. Army. Kenneth W. Harkin Sr., U.S. Navy. Raymond E. Harmon III, U.S. Army. Thomas W. Hoey, U.S. Army. Timothy J. Holt, U.S. Marine Corps. Daniel J. Jacobanco Jr., U.S. Air Force. Daniel J. Jacobanco Sr., U.S. Air Force. J. Matthew King, U.S. Marine Corps. Thorning D. Knight, U.S. Air Force. Eugene W. Krause, U.S. Navy. Frederick T. Lannon, U.S. Army. William E. Law, Jr., U.S. Air Force. Stephen C. Lassesi, U.S. Navy. Thomas D. LeClaire, U.S. Army. Stanley R. Leonard, U.S. Air Force. Kevin F. Lynch, U.S. Army. Sean R. Marxison, U.S. Army. Ralph T. Markey, U.S. Navy, U.S. Marine Corps. Louis B. Martinez, U.S. Marine Corps. Nathan M. Martinez, U.S. Marine Corps. Megan A. McGee, U.S. Army. Lawrence J. McGowan, U.S. Navy. Alan D. McPersey Sr., U.S. Air Force. Dennis McLaughlin, U.S. Navy, U.S. Marine Corps. Raymond C. McLaughlin, U.S. Navy. Francis J. McManus, U.S. Army. Thomas E. Moran, U.S. Navy. John W. Moses, U.S. Army. Bruce H. Neild, U.S. Navy. Michael F. Noon, U.S. Army. Thomas F. O'Donoghue, U.S. Air Force. Raymond F. Reardon, U.S. Navy. Sherwood M. Ovitt, Army Air Force. Harry Lynn Pager, U.S. Army. Thomas M. Patno, U.S. Army. Aaron K. Philifanda, U.S. Army. Earl F. Plummer III, U.S. Navy. Edwin J. Quimby, U.S. Army. Jonathan P. Quimby, U.S. Air Force. Jonathan C. Ruth, U.S. Army. Francis Silva, U.S. Army. Jeffrey J. Saunier, U.S. Navy. Michael J. Tessier, U.S. Army. Mark E. Thurrer, U.S. Army. Frederick W. Plumeth, U.S. Army. Dennis H. Trahan, U.S. Marine Corps. Joseph B. Varnum III, U.S. Navy. Charles G. Walls, U.S. Air Force. John J. Walsh, U.S. Army. David C. Wickens, U.S. Army. Harris W. Wickens, U.S. Army. Robert C. Williams, U.S. Army, U.S. Coast Guard. Billy J. Workman, U.S. Army, U.S. Navy. Charles Zografos, U.S. Army.
To do the unveiling, I would like to have Katie and Tom LeClaire, please. You're already over there, okay. I can't see you, but that's okay. Whenever you're ready, please unveil that. 2 years to instill that strong, close to my heart. Thank you everyone for being here. As far as the unveiling goes, Regina finished up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the beautiful stone. We're going to lay 3 wreaths today. So the first wreath is going to be at the Merrimack Valley Vietnam Veteran Stone, so you may have to clear a little area here. Our second wreath will be the American Legion Post 313 with members of the Merrimack Valley Vietnam Veterans will be laying a wreath at the POW MIA Stone. And our third will be from our Chelmsford Select Board. We'll place the wreath right in the front of the main stone. Please note, after all 3 wreaths have been placed, the Chelmsford Police Honor Guard will fire a volley. So if you